welcome back to the Clay Church podcast. Woo! So lately our church has been talking about adversity and what it means to grow through trials. So today we're gonna go into a deep dive talking about storms, talking about setbacks, and how God uses all that to build us up instead of tear us down. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Chrysant. I am your host, and I'm joined with a very special guest today, Jennifer Sodergo.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. Clearly. Thanks for having me.
Thank
It's
you
really
for
nice.
joining me. No, all good. How are you today?
Doing good.
Doing
well.
good?
Yeah. Excited. It's like the last month of school, so it's just pushing in
Oh
the
my
last
gosh,
bit.
that's true. June is the last month of school.
Yeah, but we're there till like the 27th, 28th.
right.
really-
yeah. So
yeah.
the whole month left.
1 whole month left.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, for
Push
those of
through.
you who don't know Jen, Jen is a school teacher. Jen, do you want to introduce yourself and what you do, and also what you do for the church?
Yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in this church, basically, literally even before this building started. Like
That's crazy.
back in Willowdale Pentecostal Church, we rented that space, and so I was there until 1999, 2000 when this church was built, and yeah, it's been here since then. I basically am a church member, but also a clay leader, and I sort of deal with the educational side of things, which matches my vocation as a
Background.
teacher.
Yeah.
I'm a cell group leader as well. So
Yeah, you lead North York Cell. Is that
yes,
correct?
and I'm also part of Plung as well. So
Plung.
I
Oh,
represent
damn.
two cells.
She double dipping. See Carl in the back waving his hand like this. He's also part of Plong. Nice. Yeah, Jen does a lot for our church. I didn't even know that our church used to have a old location.
Yeah, it was literally, I think from the 80s till 1999,
gosh.
we were there in that space. I still remember the basement. They had these cool secret passageways, so you would go as a kid. It was so much cooler than here, but this is our own space,
Okay,
so it's better.
petition to build secret passageways in our church.
It was so cool though. It was really cool. I liked it. Fun.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Yeah. So when did you accept Christ? Were you always a Christian all your life?
So I officially became a believer when I was 5. There was this crusade, and then I was I attended Sunday school, but I did all the Christian things to do, right? But I think I didn't take it seriously until maybe when we had the Sunday school teacher who was just really pivotal in helping me understand that there is more to Christianity than just being a good person. And that made me take my walk seriously. And then with youth group at the time, Anchor Youth Ministry, that really having encounters with the Lord there just really helped me with my walk, and it's been growing since then.
So you had a very positive experience growing up in the church.
Yeah,
you'd say.
yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Did your experience with a great Sunday school teacher affect you in wanting to become an educator, or how did you become an educator? Why?
I think so I think growing up I always knew that I had a way with kids. Kids would gravitate towards me. My mom would always say wow, Jen's really good with kids. And I even from a young age, there was a newcomer who came in and I started teaching them English. It was just my natural gifting.
Yeah.
And then so I also was just okay, I think maybe this is where I want to be. And so since grade 2, since 7 years old, I wanted to be a teacher. And now I'm a teacher.
Now you're a teacher.
Yeah.
So, what grade do you teach?
So right now I'm teaching 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
I was in a grade 3 classroom earlier this year.
Nice.
Yeah. So I prefer the primary, I think.
You prefer the primary ages?
Yes.
They're a little bit easier to control.
Yeah, they're better, easier to manage.
Right?
Yes.
I feel grade 4 or 5 is when they start the attitude and they start talking back and
it's cool to see. It's also though I've realized they're able to make more deeper conversations though too, so there are pros and cons to it. But yeah, I think I have a special place in my heart for primary.
For primary.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like right now we're going to talk about something that no one really wants to talk
Yeah.
about, which is trials and adversity. In your opinion, how do you define adversity?
So I would say adversity is having like a difficult situation, and it's you have to overcome that. So it's like a series of problems, or it's even in your state of mind, right? And you have to sort of overcome that. And there are probably multiple different types, right? Like some are internal, so like
Right.
Self-doubt or feelings of rejection, and then you have poverty,
Which is very
career
much outside.
which is very external, illness, the loss of any relationship, right? So these are all different types of adversity that I would say can really define a person
Right.
if you let it.
Yeah. Do you feel like God, like how do you feel God's role is in adversity? Do you feel like he causes adversity? Do you feel like he allows it? And how does he use it, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I don't think he causes it. I think God is good, and he's our good father. And so a good father wouldn't, every good gift, comes from God. And it's the enemy who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Now, and in terms of like the word allow, it's like I don't think the Bible explicitly says he allows it, but there are stories in the Bible where situations happen and it happens, right? Trials happen, and I think it's because it's the fact that we live in a broken world. They're just full of selfishness, self-centeredness, and that causes people to do crazy things and things to change the environment too, which can impact like natural disasters and all that stuff.
Of course, like things that you really can't explain. Like, why is this happening?
Exactly. But the good thing is that God had intervened in the best way possible with like sending Jesus to die on the cross, and so that is the best intervention to help us to sort out so that we can be in relationship with God, and we can be have a close relationship with love himself.
Yeah. Like that's really an amazing thing about like our God. Like, even though there is adversity and sometimes we get bitter, right, because of the things that have happened to us, but ultimately, like, we have to remember that like he is not someone that will not suffer, like will not allow us to suffer without him. Like he's willing to actually suffer with us.
And that's what Pastor Danny was talking about earlier, right? With how God is willing to suffer with us, and that's just, to me, is still mind-blowing, and that's like the ultimate ultimate expression of his love for us.
It really
is just the fact that he's willing to deal with our messiness and our brokenness and all the stuff.
Because let's be real, like most of the adversity is like self-inflicted.
Exactly. Or it's just out of your control, right? Like there's only so much you can try your best to control everything, and that's what I tried to do a lot. But what I've learned is like you can't control. There's only so much you can do. But you can't control.
We can't control it, but at least we have a God that is willing to go through with it with us.
And we trust, we have faith in the one who does control everything, right? So that's the beauty.
Can you share with us a time on when you did go through a trial or a setback in your life?
So I think in my mid-20s, I went through something that was like very life-changing, I would say. I had just come back from Indonesia, like living there for 2 years, and then I started experiencing pain in my right elbow. And then it turns out that it was cancer. And so I was diagnosed with it in my mid-20s, and that was really shocking, to say the least, because in your mid-20s you're expecting to like you're starting your career and everything, and you're just getting your life started, and then to have this kind of diagnosis, and then they were saying how like it's pretty serious. It's like stage 3, every minute counts. Like it could be months, like literally.
It was stage 3 off
it
the
was
rip.
Stage 3. And then it was like, because the tumor had grown so big, it was the size of like a grapefruit. But when they discovered that it was like the exact diagnosis, they said like even with chemotherapy there was a chance that they'd have to amputate my arm. And so it just like it was really shattering, and I think I was devastated because I had this view that the sign of like God, the sign of God's favor was if everything was okay. Like, and so if everything was not okay, then I was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like,
I feel like that's a very common perception.
Yeah. And so I was like shaken because I was just like, did I do something wrong? Like, what did I do? Like, why is this? Why is this happening to me? And I think I had treated God as like, oh, like he's my genie, he can do whatever it's his job to serve me basically, when actually that's not true. Like, we serve God. And so it was really challenging. It was really challenging to be confronted with this, like, where it's just like, I was forced to really see like my frailty in this and God's sovereignty over everything. And yeah, it was a lot to wrestle with. But, thankfully, I went through the chemotherapy, I went through surgery, and even the whole like story itself was just very miraculous. Like, the fact that, like, because they said that even with chemotherapy, there was a chance that they would have to amputate my arm. And like the fact that they were able to shrink it enough, and then the chemo killing 100% of the tumor, which is also rare, like even to get 90%, like, right? It was just all like so miraculous. And even how I found out, because I didn't want to go to the hospital, and I refused to go to the hospital until I was forced to, because I fell on like black ice. And the only reason why I fell on black ice was because normally when I walk, I was on my way to tutor. Yeah. And like normally there's like this white van that's parked, and so I always walk by the grass. Okay. That one time, the van was not there. And so I decided, I'm going to walk on the road. On the pavement. And then the road, there was literally black ice. Wow. Black ice on it. And that's how I fell. And I fractured it. And then basically,
That was the reason why you had to get your arm checked out.
Yes, exactly. And so it was just like one thing after another where God really showed me his provision and his people. But it was really, really, really hard. Like,
I'm sure. Yeah, I feel like definitely like if there's anyone that's more qualified to talk about the goodness of God, I feel like it's you. Like when people say like God is good, but they haven't really gone through like anything, like I feel like, yeah, of course God's good, but like the fact that you're here today still being able to worship him, like I feel like that's such an inspiration. So I mean, thank you for sharing your story. And it's always such a good reminder for me too in my own faith journey with God. That's crazy, like going through chemo. Like, was it like what you were expecting? Like, how was that, like when you were going through treatments? Like,
it was, well, some things I were expected, right? Like I did lose my hair, but just because you expect it, you always hope in the back of your mind that it's not going to happen
to you.
And then you see it happen, like your hair, you're losing your hair, like feeling nauseous and like vomiting and all that stuff. It's just, and feeling so weak. Like I had never felt that kind of weakness before. And to not even be able to go to the bathroom myself, it felt like humiliating in a way, because I'm suddenly reliant on my family for everything. Right,
of course.
And then not to mention, because I was immunocompromised, right, like I couldn't go out, and so like being isolated at home a lot was hard. Right. And then even like I think the hospital had suggested like a community group kind of thing, but I think my concern was that like what if like people in that circle pass away from the cancer, that would be another trigger for me that I would like be adding to the fear. So I didn't go that route, and I didn't want to be influenced by like worldly stuff, and because I was like, I think I was
there's risks, but like, there's risks to the benefits of joining a group.
So then, but I mean, looking back now, I don't know, maybe I would have joined just so that I wouldn't have felt so alone,
the isolation.
But at the same time, like I understand, like too, sometimes it is triggering to, if someone doesn't join the circle anymore because they're passing away. Right. They passed away, and it's just like, oh my, like, well, that happened to me. Yeah. Right. So that's also a component as well, and just like fear, dealing with the fear. And I don't think I realized like just the impact that it would have on my psyche. I mean, like I knew, of course, everyone knows that it would be devastating, but the effects of it on your body and how you end up like, so one of the side effects of the chemo drugs is like depression, And I didn't know that. Like my family didn't know that. And so we were wondering, like, I mean, obviously we knew that something, it was because of the cancer that was causing the depression, but like, it was part of it wasn't that, because I think I had believed that like, oh, like because I'm depressed, I'm not a good Christian because I didn't like have joy or whatever, even in the midst of this.
Right.
But actually it was part of the drug that made
it wasn't
that
even
way.
your own thoughts.
Exactly. And so just, I didn't know that the depression was part of the side effect. And like just dealing with like my nervous system was all haywire, and so I would go into like hyper arousal. Like, I would be like more easily angry, more easily irritated, more easily this,
like everything.
Yeah, everything was just like
Hyper.
magnified and hyper. Everything was hyped up, so I would overreact to certain things, like just like a glance from like
Someone.
a family member, you know, and I would interpret it as something completely different,
like like an attack.
Yeah,
or something.
but it's because my body is trained to like try to avoid danger, right? So like it's on high alert, so it assumes everything is dangerous. And so just that was a mental battle that I was not prepared for, and I don't think my family was prepared for it either.
Right.
So that was really challenging as well.
Of course.
Besides like the fatigue and everything.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know about that either.
Yeah, I don't think you
like it's not commonly known as like an experience that relates to chemo.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, like did you find that like your perspective on God's character changed throughout this experience?
For sure. Like for sure. I think during this time, because I had nothing else to do at home, I really used that opportunity to sort of really build my faith, because I realized I had thought growing up, I thought that I had all this knowledge and that, you know, that I was a good Christian because I had all this faith. But when I was tested, I realized I don't have faith. Like it was so fragile. And so I think I had to really build my faith. And like I realized like there are times when people, you know, you go through life and you're just like going through the motion, and you don't realize the benefit of you know, building your faith while you're still strong, so that when you are weak, when you get attacked, it becomes easier to fight. And so like I had to listen to a lot of sermons and listening to podcasts about like hearing different testimonies from people who have gone through what I went through. That was really helpful, and listening to a lot of sermons too. And you know, I think also journaling and prayer and worship, all those things, like you know, if I didn't have time in the morning with God, if I didn't start my morning with God, like it could be a terrible day, because I would be so like, you know, hyper vigilant. I would be super like sensitive. I'd be like really agitated about everything, and like grumpy and like tired and all that stuff. And so, and like even with God's like the time with God in the morning, I was already those things. So like it would have been amplified if I didn't spend time with God. So I think I really learned a lot about God's character, in the sense of like I learned that he is good no matter what. I learned that and I also learned that trusting God doesn't always mean that you're never going to face anxiety, or you're never going to face fear, or you're never going to have these reactions. It's about shifting my focus to who God is in those moments, and continuing to turn to him when the alternative is, you know, to walk away from the faith. But there is no hope if you walk away there. Right? There's nothing we can hold on to but to hold on to God, right? And so you learn about his character, how safe he is, how faithful God is. And yeah, so those are just some of the lessons that I learned.
That you learned. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Like, I feel like it would be so tough because you're already in this fragile state, right? Like physically, but then mentally, but then like during that time, it was the time that you started to be more active, like proactive in actually seeking God.
Yeah.
And so, like, where did that like strength come from exactly? Like, because like when you're strong, right? Like you said, that was a really profound thing you just said. Also, like when you're strong, that's like really the time where you should train yourself to be close to God, right?
Yeah.
Because you have the strength
Yeah.
and the mental clarity and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and the peace to like see His goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you're weak,
Yeah.
it's easier to connect with Him. But like, I'm sure like you, like, was there a time before your sickness where you were seeking God in that intensity? Like,
I think to a degree I was chasing God. But I think I was chasing Him because I started to get into like, the whole I believe that God heals, and so I was like trying to put that into practice a lot by being more evangelical and like going on the street and like praying for people, and I was trying to like train for that kind of thing. So in that, like, I had already had that before, but to the extreme that I did during my treatment, like it wasn't to that level. Right. I was, and it wasn't until I was forced, because otherwise the desperation, because I was just like, I was so desperate, like what can I do? Like I can't do anything. I feel like I can't do anything, and I felt so weak, like I'm just like, I'm a wreck. And only God, like only through hope in Him, that I was able to be like, okay, put the next step forward and like just take it 1 minute at a time. Like, I couldn't even, like, I didn't know if I was going to last like an hour or 2 hours or a day or 2 days. Like it just felt like every day was just trying to survive till the next.
Right. Yeah, because there really is no guarantee if actually.
Yeah, like even with the chemo, right? Like you hear a story of people who pass away, and it's just it also does things to your brain too, and like,
right. When you look back, was there something that you felt like God taught you during this experience? Like, was God, would you say that it's accurate that to say that God uses trials to build you up?
I definitely think the trials help build my character a lot, because I think I learned one of the things that I learned many things, but one of the things that I've learned is like how important it is not to stuff my emotions, because for so long I had just been burying emotions after emotion after emotion after emotion, and I sort of just and then it wasn't until I was forced to, like, I have to confront it, because like I'm already a mess here. Like I'm very emotionally tired, reactive, all that stuff. I was feeling like suicidal thoughts even, right? Like it was so bad. Like I really had to just trust Him and rely on Him, and like what choice did I have, you know? Sorry, what was your question?
What do you feel like God was teaching you during that time? Like, what was like one of the biggest lessons, I guess?
Oh yes. Yeah, well, stuffing my emotion and not just stuff my emotion. That was one lesson.
So you did answer the question.
Okay, so I did. Okay, yeah. Sometimes you get like,
I know.
All this and,
No, for sure. I do that all the time too. Like, you go around in a circle.
Yeah. I guess, and also just learning that God is good regardless of any situation, and He's faithful. Like when there were moments where I was just like, God, like I really like, I see this. Like there was a moment there. I think it was, I had gone through treatment like maybe for 5 months at this point, when I started to like experience these like pictures in my mind of like ways to kill myself. Like it was, and I didn't want to kill myself, but those thoughts were just bombarding me in my head all the time, and it was torturous. Like I was like scared, like if I'm alone, like what am I gonna do, kind of thing. And like I had to, what did I do in that time? Like I asked my mom to pray for me, and so community was really important in that time too. Like just having my mom to remind me like, hey Jen, like you're gonna be okay. Like there's no guarantee of what's gonna happen, but God is in control. And I had to wrap my mind around the fact that even though everything around me was chaotic inside my body, inside my brain, like God has maintained control over it, and he can help me through it. And like He did, like I think there was like a demonic influence as well that we had to like cast out and stuff.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah,
The fact
and
that he's like Satan's always gonna be working to steal, kill, and
exactly.
destroy. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And then just I had to like memorize. I had to really learn like what does God's word mean to me, because God's word up to that point, like I had a little bit of revelations here and there, but nothing really where I really truly believed. Like it wasn't the Bible verses come to life. And during that time, I really felt like scripture coming to
Coming
life.
to life. Yeah.
It was like a light bulb that went in my head.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, like in Psalms 91, it says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty." And I remember reading that scripture, and it's just like, it's sort of just like he who dwells, which means I have to stay
Yeah.
in his presence. And like, it can't just be a one-time thing of like, okay, God, like I'm here, and then check out again.
Yeah.
You
like,
have to,
oh, here,
yeah.
it's 8 a.m. now. It's time for you to like,
and then
come in.
time for you to like leave God. Like
Yeah.
now, like, I'm gonna do something else. I had to
Yeah.
like dwell in his presence. And so worship music like was really great, and like just continuing to acknowledge like, God, you are in this with me right now. I feel tired. I feel like I'm getting these pictures in my head that I'm killing myself. Like, God, your perfect love, like your perfect love casts out fear. You are, you know, my rock. You are my refuge.
Yeah.
And like, you know, having to practice that over and over and over again. And there were times when I was weary and tired, and I needed like, I needed help to remind myself. So like sometimes, you know, like my family members would remind me of a verse, or like I had some friends who would like check up on me and just send me a text. Like it wasn't much. They just sent me a text like, "Hey, I'm thinking of you today." Like, and just different things where God reminded me that he was with me, and like he gave me visions and just dreams to help sustain me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing maybe like a vision that you
Sure. So I think, I don't know which one to share. There's so many.
Wow, that's amazing. First of all,
okay, so there was one where I felt like, so I don't know if this I don't think this is I don't know if it's a vision or not, but like I had been sleeping, and then this was before my treatment started. So I was feeling very devastated, right? And I felt like God had abandoned me. And then one time I was sleeping, and then I felt a hand on my forehead. So I woke up, I opened my eyes thinking it was my mom, it was my dad. Nobody was there.
Wow.
It was God reminding me that he was there.
Right.
He was there.
That he's so close.
That he's really close. There was another time where I saw, like, I had a vision of this, like, my arm, like there was some, like a tumor, like a circle on my arm, and it just shrank. And so that was like, okay,
wow,
God, like
if you want to
okay,
be more
God,
literal, please.
please, like, okay, God, like I choose to believe, like, you know, that you are working in this, and you are like shrinking the tumor. And yeah, the tumor shrank.
100%.
Like 100% killed.
Wow, that's crazy.
And just, do we have to, I'll share one more.
Yeah, no, please do. Sure. We need all the hope that we can get.
So like there was oopsie.
No, you're good.
I got so excited. I started bumping into the mic.
I know, no. I'm constantly worried that I'm gonna bump into the mic too.
So I read this story about how in First Kings there's this prophet named Elijah. And Elijah, he goes through this series of depression, and he runs away, and he asks God to kill him. And I could really relate to that, because I was like, God, I'm so tired of living like this, like in fear and like just weakness and all that stuff. And then in the story, like there was an angel, like after Elijah prays, like, just kill me, he sleeps. And then an angel shows up with like bread and water. And you know, sometimes I think we're tempted to believe that like God just condemns us whenever we are having these bad thoughts. But the thing is, God has an understanding of our needs, and what Elijah needed in that time was rest and food. And so one time I had a vision of like bread and water just right there.
Wow.
And then I knew that was God speaking to me, that for me personally, like obviously that was a narrative, and you cannot apply to every single thing. But in that moment, the rhema that I got, like, there was bread for me to eat. Like he was being like, it was his compassion towards me that's saying like, hey, Jan, like, even though you feel like this is so sinful, like to have these like thoughts of like wanting to kill yourself, like I am so present with you, and I love you and
Yeah.
here like I'm
I'm
taking
hearing-
care of you.
yeah, I hear
you know,
all your
and
prayers.
this is how I will provide for you. So that
That's incredible. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing that. That has definitely given me like hope.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like, yeah, like, I mean, obviously progress is not like an uphill trajectory all the time. Like, do you find yourself like returning to moments of like doubt? And how do you like tackle that? How do you handle it?
That's another lesson that I learned, that progress is not linear. Like I used to think, oh, like, you know, if I overcame anxiety and fear, that I would never feel afraid again,
Right,
even when situations come my way.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's a natural response. Like fear, it happens, but it's what you do with the fear, right? And so I found myself going back to areas of doubt, like, and now it's shifted over time. Like I think in the beginning, right after, like, even when I was done with chemo and I thought everything was back to normal, and it wouldn't. I honestly thought right after, like the year after, that I'd be able to go back to work. And like obviously, like when you're going through chemo, your
my
body
God.
completely shuts down, and like it's not gonna be that quick.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to my life to go back to normal so bad. And then just understanding that, like, oh, it's not gonna go back to normal. And so I was just basically in survival mode, just trying to survive, just trying to like make it, trying to be as healthy as I could. So for the first 5 years, like, because the 5-year mark is very critical, because there's a higher chance of you getting a relapse. So I had to get it checked like every 3 months and then every 6 months. And so it's like there was always a fear of like it coming back, right? And then even after the 5 years, like I was like, okay, I can kind of breathe a little bit, but I still like had these like gnawing fears of
In
just
the back
like
of your mind,
in the back of my mind, if it happened before, it could happen again. And so I became very like paranoid and like trying to control things in my own way. And like so, you know, those fears came back, and how I would overcome it is just like, okay, God, in the past, you helped me. You didn't bring me this far and keep me alive for this long for you to give up on me now. So I had to remind myself, and like, you know, having people remind me, like, you know, in the church people too, like, I remember sometimes I tell Pastor Danny, like, oh, like, pray for me, I have another scan coming up, pray for me. And he's like, Jen, you're already healed, it's okay. So like it's just having that reminder too is like,
that's wonderful.
Is nice.
Yeah, that's really necessary. Yeah, that actually leads me to my other question too. Like, how has the church helped you going through this experience? Like, was there was there anything that we could have done, or like what is the church's role for helping like
that's such a good question.
Individuals, you know, like that's in our community go through things like this?
Yeah. So personally, I think for me, like, I think because I was gone for 2 years, like when like before this happened, right? So I think technically like I wasn't really ingrained in the clay community as I used to be. But like the people who were there before, like they showed up for me, like they visited me at the hospital. I know that the people in clay, they also collected like a gift basket, like a care package for me. So like they brought like toothbrushes and socks and like just basic things.
Yeah.
But it was to show me that they were thinking of me. And so having gift baskets was really amazing. And I think just a lot of the oms and tantas, like they would just visit me at the hospital randomly, even people who I didn't even know, like, but they're like apparently they're related to me, but I didn't even know them, and so they would show up in my hospital room.
That is the most Asian thing ever. Like I didn't even know that they were related to me, but
and I'm like, oh, like okay, like and so I really appreciated, like, I think, and then just having some friends who they would commute far just to visit me at the hospital, like while I had my MRI scan, and that meant the world to me. So I think presence, and just letting them, like, and giving the person who's going through the distress like a chance to speak and process if they want to, because I think there is sometimes like I think what people struggle with when they're trying to be there for the person who is in grief, like the problem is that they think like, oh, but I don't know what to say. But I think sometimes not saying anything at all and being silent is just as painful. And now obviously sometimes if people mean well, they all mean well, but they don't always say the wisest thing, right? And so you're just like, well, in some cases it's like, I appreciate what they're trying to do and like they're trying to give advice, but sometimes the advice is not helpful because they don't understand.
Of course.
And so I think the best way is just to say, hey, like, we're here for you. And like offering, actually like giving options for them. And because a lot of people say like, let me know how I can help. But when you're in grief, you're so overwhelmed by everything.
Yeah.
It's just another thing to think about, like how you can be helpful. So like if you just say, hey, like, can you, like, if I were to drop off like some groceries for you, like what would you like? And that's what my friend did for me. She just said like, hey Jen, like I'm at the grocery store, would you like some apples, oranges, whatever, what would you like? And so that made it easier for me, and then I appreciate that, and it met a need. Or like, hey, I want to visit. Yeah,
that's a really good practical tip. If like for people who want to encourage someone but really don't know where to start.
Like make it practical. Like, hey, like I would love to, just stop by and like hang out. We don't even have to talk. Like if you don't want to, just presence really matters.
Yeah, like I'll swing by. Like I have to research on my paper or whatever. But
like
I'll be there. And we can enjoy each other's company or whatever.
Yeah. And silence is okay. Like it's okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just little tidbits here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we close, if someone's listening and feels like they're in the middle of also their own trial. What would you say to them?
I think I would say, I'm so sorry that this is happening. And like, I know that I may not be able to understand, but God understands, and like, I'm here, and just know that like God hasn't forgotten you. Because I think there's a temptation to believe like that when you're going through pain that God is absent, but that's not true. If anything, He is present, and you can be more aware of His presence during the time of need. And so just take it day by day. Like it's very easy to get overwhelmed with stuff like that, and so just give yourself grace, have compassion, and know that God is there, and He sees your pain, and He's grieving along with you.
Okay. Thank you so much,
No
Jen,
problem.
for being here. That was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank
I
you
was
for
very
letting me
excited to have you here today on this podcast. I say this to like everyone. Like you can ask Anderson, but I'm always saying like Jen is like the most inspirational person I know. Like she's like my most like inspirational friend. Like seriously, your story is incredible, and I look up to you a lot. So
thank you so much for your kind words.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. This is the end of this episode. If you are encouraged and inspired by this episode, please feel free to share. We're available through Instagram at Clay Toronto, also on YouTube. If you need prayer also, we would love to pray for you, so feel free to send us a DM. Thanks, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.